Greetings and salutations, everyone. This is TakersMinion, and welcome to Shooting the Breeze. Normally, my co-host is Mr. Dr. Senju, but he's being delayed by at least a half an hour, which has already passed. I had technical difficulties on the first Hangouts I set up, so we're trying again. With me this morning is 14 Fitzpatrick.
Hey, folks. Well, I guess I'm doing some Iron Man podcasting today. This is not my first rodeo when it comes to this sort of thing, but Taker had some technical difficulties, as he said at the top of the show, and, well, I decided to come in and help him out with his sound audio testing issues, and, well, I'm here.
You got suckered.
Oh, no, that's fine. I mean, I brought TakersMinion on board Cage Side Speaks a few episodes back, and he's been doing this podcasting thing on the side, which is really, really great to see. You know, more podcasting opinions and voices out there in the world of wrestling, and TakersMinion is very interesting to me.
No, yeah. Well, let's move on. Let's just get into it. What I got in the posting with, when I put up with Cage Side Seats today, was stated that the first 30 minutes I was going to be alone. Well, I'm not alone anymore.
Well, we swerved them.
And it was going to be my hot takes on what I see going on in the world of WWE and in other wrestling news in general. And the biggest story that has been going on for the last, 3-4 weeks has been the Alberto Del Rio Page possible physical abuse or abuse of a partner abuse, spousal abuse, whatever you want to call it.
And domestic violence.
Domestic violence, thank you. Whatever you want to call it. And you did a big thing on your show, Fizz, about it, and it got me to thinking, and Sal even mentioned that I posted here, we got to wait for the evidence, and if he's guilty, I want him hung out to dry. Well, it turns out that apparently it wasn't Alberto Del Rio who was actually doing the assaulting this time. It turned out to be Paige. At least that's what the police have determined from the Orlando airport incident, is that Paige assaulted Alberto Del Rio, or El Patron, or Dos Caros, whatever the hell you want to call him.
Mm-hmm.
That she did something to him. So
I believe she threw a drink at the guy.
Yeah, she threw a drink at him, and it's been forwarded to district attorney there in Orlando.
Mm-hmm.
So your thoughts on that?
Once again, I must stress, like I said a couple episodes ago, this is still an ongoing investigation by the Orlando Police Department into this incident at the Orlando airport. Again, until all of the facts come out, I generally feel as though that we should be very cautious about this situation. Now, the things have turned a little bit now that Paige is in the situation of she might be the one getting charged here. If she does get charged, then that means that she gets hit with her third strike as far as the WWE tolerance of domestic violence policy is concerned, which might lead to a possible immediate release.
I didn't know she's had domestic violence issues while in the WWE.
Well, she's
had two wellness violations. That much I know.
Yeah, I know she has 2 wellness violations, but WWE currently has apparently a zero tolerance policy when it comes to domestic violence incidents that get charged. So that means that people usually get either a massive suspension or get released, as in the case that what happened with Adam Rose.
Yeah, he got released for that, didn't he?
Yeah, he got released for that. They have a zero tolerance policy right now for that kind of incidents.
Wow. Okay, so that she's had a 30-day and a 60-day for wellness.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think though they're going to want to really release her? Because isn't that part of what Dos Caros, whatever the hell that.
The Caras family, what the Caras family wants.
You know my opinions of Alberto Del Rio. I have made them very clear. Someone's made it. Hello, Doc. Hello, MDS.
Oh, hi.
Konnichiwa, my friend.
Konnichiwa to you too.
And
based from that
like I said,
cheerful and very positive voice, I assume that is Fitzpatrick.
Indeed,
It is.
Finally, MDS has come back to Shootin' the
Yeah, well,
Breeze.
we had technical difficulties on the top of the show on the first one, so I had to redo it. But anyway,
Okay.
getting back to the thing with Paige and Alberto Del Rio, my opinions of ADR are he's scum. I've never really liked the man. But, you know, nobody, whether they be male or female, deserves to be assaulted in any way. And if throwing a drink on someone is considered assault, hey, and she does get charged, let the chips fall where they may. It's that she could always come back, as we have seen, which we already know that there's already been talk of Hulk Hogan returning to the WWE in spite of everything. So
True. Okay.
So what say you, MDS, on that whole situation now that it's been forwarded to the district attorney in Orlando?
Okay. I have little respect for the man, ADR. As much as an athlete he is, as much of a talent as he is, he's a bad human being. He's not a good role model to go with the demographic that we wanted, or demographic of the fans of wrestling. And I'm not criticizing him for the body of work that he has, because he's a tremendous athlete, for one. But being a tremendous athlete does not allow you any kind of civil liberties or any kind of moral liberties to be passed over when you act like a stupid shit. I'm sorry, I just jumped in. Hi, guys.
Biz, you still there? Or you're being awful quiet?
Oh yeah, I'm just listening to YouTube's thought processes on the situation, and the thing is that ADR comes from one of the more infamous families in Mexican wrestling, which is the Caris family, and we know that those people are not exactly the kind of people that are good for good moral values and whatnot. I think his dad doesn't have any issues, but his uncle, Mil Mascaras, he's got a ton of issues. The guy was infamous in Japan for no-selling opponents. He was infamous in the States for no-selling opponents. This guy had a very particular view of who he was going to sell for and why he was going to sell for that person. Possibly the most difficult person alleged that Mick Foley ever worked with was this guy during a match done in WCW in 1990 when they brought him in for a match on a pay-per-view. So the expectation that the Caris family is going to be difficult and do crazy things like this is not unexpected, especially since we also have the double-edged sword of ADR also being a former Olympic wrestler. And oh, good Lord, when you start mixing Olympics and this family into the blender, all that you get is pure insanity.
Agreed.
Yeah.
But then we have Paige, who comes from another infamous Carney family, as you told me earlier, Fizz.
Oh yes,
the Knight family from England,
Norwich, England.
Yeah, Norwich, England. Oh, God. Yeah, Ricky Knight is a long-time professional wrestler. He's been around since, I think, the late 80s, early 90s. He's been around for a very long time. Saraya started working as a manager in 1990. Then there are the kids, multiple criminal records aside. So this is a family. They are the kind of family that would be perfect for a Guy Ritchie film, because they literally are a living Guy Ritchie film family.
Agreed. And then here we are in the United States, and everybody complains about how dysfunctional the McMahon family is. We just gave two examples of families that are as dysfunctional as the day is long.
Yeah, I mean, because the McMahon family, for as much as people complain about this family, they are at least financially sensible. They know how to run a business, And every other wrestling family really doesn't, unfortunately. We've got the Von Erichs and that tragedy. We've got the Harts and that tragedy. We've now got the Dos Caras family trying to submit, I don't know what kind of legacy in Mexico at this point. And then you also have the Knight family who are, I feel that they are trying to protect what they have because they feel as though that Vince is going after them in whatever bizarre carny thought process that they have right now, which I don't think is necessarily true because, you know, Paige is still on that roster until she gets charged with whatever incident that happens. And as I said at the top of the show, WWE has a very low domestic violence policy in effect where they've got a zero tolerance policy, especially to people who have broken the wellness policy as well.
True. Like I said, Paige has been suspended twice for that. And we were talking about, Adam Rose getting terminated, his contract being terminated for the alleged or the domestic violence charge that he was charged with. But like I said before, like I started to say before MDS got here, would it be in WWE's best interest to let Paige go, even if she is charged? Because in all actuality, isn't that what ADR wants?
I mean, it's definitely certainly something he wants in his crazy little big revenge scheme against the Shovel, but I don't know if necessarily long term that this is the plan that he should go with. Paige is in a situation right now where I don't necessarily think that she should be wrestling, given her neck issues, the fact that she has been diagnosed with spinal stenosis, that we know for sure she's been diagnosed with spinal stenosis, as that was one of the things that kept her out of the ring for a long time. It's interesting for me to see this situation because I knew that coming into this, Paige is a wrestler that had a lot of hype coming from the various different wrestling hype machines, that this was going to be the next generation star, that this would be the person, the catalyst, the leader of women's wrestling. And then you start looking at her record and you go, hang on a minute, why did these people even remotely think that it was going to happen? This is a girl who was in Shimmer, and her primary feud was as a tag team partner to her mom, and then feuding with her mom, and then getting signed by WWE, then brought over to FCW, and then over to NXT, where she became one of the NXT, I think the first NXT Women's Champion.
I do believe you're correct.
Yes. Sure.
So we have this situation where all of this hype and all of this, you know, this expectation was brought upon this person who was at that point just about 20, 21 years old. The hype machine of wrestling caught up with her. She was in an unfamiliar province, the United States. She apparently had a ton of issues down in NXT, you know, based on the fact that there was that unfortunate leak of a sex tape back in, what was it, from 2013. So this has been an ongoing situation that has been a downhill slide that is now the toboggan is going at 90 miles per hour and there is a rock right in front of it.
Yes.
I agree 100%. Now,
well, okay. Taking that question from Taker in a little bit, and I do agree. Like, she's being thrust in an unfamiliar spot in an unfamiliar place. But on the flip side, wasn't she supposed to already have known that she was going to be thrust in the limelight this soon? I mean, some people at her age has been exposed to the business at a fairly young age, and they should know, and they cope out pretty well.
Look at Stephanie McMahon. She was exposed from the time she was what, 16?
Mm-hmm.
Look at Shane McMahon.
Same thing. Both of them.
Same.
They've turned out pretty good. Both of them have.
Mm-hmm.
Well, okay. And
nobody can heal like Stephanie can heal. I'll tell you that right now.
Okay. And if we want to skip out to the McMahon family, for McMahon family to pull up an example, look at look at the third generation stars that are doing pretty well even at a young age. Like some say, like closest would be like guys like Randy Orton or girls like Tessa Blanchard or someone similar to that.
You got this. You got, and don't forget Curtis Axel.
Yes.
Third generation wrestler from the Hennig family.
So back to my question: doesn't all that example supposedly has to had Paige prepare for the life in the limelight and in the WWE zone?
Some people handle celebrity and pressure differently, and given the fact that Paige's family unfortunately has quite a well-documented history of psychological issues, and folks, this is all public information. This is not something that is rumor or circumstance. This is stuff that has been talked about by the Knight family in shoot interviews and on talk shows. Apparently, you know, Paige has a family member that is currently in the insane asylum. We know that her brother Zebra Kid, brother or cousin, I'm not sure which. Hey, he has been a guy that has had multiple offenses for drugs, alcohol, and getting into massive brawls with individuals. You know, there was that infamous story that Daniel Bryan told about the Knight family attempting to chuck somebody out of a window.
Oh yeah.
So
I heard that.
You know, and her brother Zach, I think, has also had some criminal issues while he is a tag team member of the Hooligans. Not those Hooligans, because there's two different kinds of Hooligans. There's the Southern Independent Tag Team called the Hooligans, and then there's the UK version called the Hooligans.
Okay.
So just want to clear that up, folks, before we continue. This is a family, and you bring up Orton and Tessa Blanchard. Orton went AWOL in the military. And Tessa Blanchard has had issues backstage with individuals in her wrestling career, and because she's gone full Blanchard.
Right. She believes she's entitled because her last name is Blanchard. She's son of Tully Blanchard. And yes, Randy Orton did go AWOL, but he was a Marine, and they didn't call it AWOL. They just recently started calling it AWOL, because I was once a Marine, and we called it UA, unauthorized absence.
Okay.
And I made a point that when the SmackDown was here in my town on a Monday night, like I said, I was sitting in the heel corner, and Orton was there, and I yelled right in his face, "Once a Marine, always a Marine," and he gave me the hardest look. He hates the fact that people know about that. I think he hates the fact that he did that, but that he joined and did what he did. I think he regrets it.
Oh yeah, he certainly regrets it, because, you know, he did not understand how difficult the military life is. And as somebody who is, you know, who has had family serve in the military for generations, you know, my father served in the military. My grandfathers have served in the military. You know, my uncles have served in the military. It is a difficult life. I lived 3 years on a gosh dang military base in Oklahoma. So
Fort Sill, huh?
Fort Sill, Oklahoma. Yep.
Says I salute you from way over here.
You see, folks, even on this show, you get to find out the dirty details about people on Cage Side Speaks, or Cage Sided Seats, I should say.
Yeah.
That's a little detail that not many of us know, but now everyone on Cage Side Seats that will listen will know that Fizzy was a military brat.
Oh no, I think I've actually revealed that info before, that you know, my parents have served, my dad served in the military, and you know, my family has generations and generations served in the military. You know, thankfully certain things happened that, you know, most of them were able to come out of it alive. You know, my grandfather on my mother's side actually was supposed to be part of the invasion of Japan in WW2, so so yeah, kind of a blessing in disguise. You know, he managed to get out, you know, of that situation alive. Same thing with my grandfather. He was a guy that I believe was served in World War II and also served in the Korean War.
Well, I got you beat. Did you have members of your family on both sides of the war?
Nope. United States.
I did. I had an uncle and a third cousin, or a great uncle, and I think a fourth cousin. Yeah. Fourth cousin.
Mm-hmm.
The fourth cousin was here in the United States, serving in the United States Army under Patton. My great uncle was over in Germany as an SS tank commander that was captured by my fourth cousin's unit.
Wow.
Boy, that was an awkward family reunion.
It was kept quiet.
Now would the joke be? Now would the crazy joke be? Are you playing the German now, or are you playing the Allies now?
Really,
World War II reunion.
But we have digressed. Let us get back to the thing at hand here. We were
Okay.
Yes.
The question, the biggest question,
the biggest question. The question is this. We've all said it. The answer is very simple. It's how they were brought up, how they are taught to be around other people, and how they learn to handle, stardom or celebrity,
fame,
fame, as Fizz said, celebrity.
Yep.
Randy has adjusted quite well. Mm-hmm. Curtis Axel has adjusted well. Tessa Blanchard, not so much.
But at least she kept her nose out of trouble from
the Wyndhams.
Other kinds of...
There's two more. There's Bo Dallas and Bray Wyatt. One's a Rotunda, one's a Wyndham.
Okay.
They're both Rotundas, I should say. They've adjusted quite well. But we can move on to other things. Main reason I was going to do that is I wanted to talk about the ADR and Page thing. Let the facts sort themselves out. It's not all the way done yet. I don't believe Florida is a state that the state could press the charges even without ADRs of cooperation. I'm not exactly sure about that. I know there are some states like that. California is one. Iowa is another. I don't know about New York State. Fizz, can you help me with that?
In New York State, yeah, I do believe they can press charges if necessary, but and I'm not sure how often that happens, though.
In California, it happens quite a bit. They're very intolerant of domestic violence in that state.
Oh, yeah, domestic violence policies in New York. Yeah, they're very aggressive on that now, these days. They're very aggressive on that. They're very aggressive on...
child abuse.
Yeah, child abuse, domestic violence. Because you frequently see in the papers, charges for this, domestic violence, for child abuse, endangering welfare of child. There's been a major sweep in my city in particular about, drug-related offenses and domestic violence and all that kind of stuff is actually really starting to clean up the act of my town, I think.
Okay. Well, that's good. All right, let's move on to other things such as who should we have turn heel? Who should be face? That's another thing that has been driving me crazy. There's certain individuals on this particular website that I frequent, in a particular thread that I frequent, that swears up and down that Becky Lynch should never turn heel. Bailey should not turn heel. All they need is to be booked better. I agree with the better booking as faces, but come on, really? Becky has already stated she wants the opportunity to be a heel. She believes she's done it in the independent circuit, has Bailey. I have seen actual videos of Bailey healing it up in an independent circuit, and she was great at it. Let them do it. Turn them heel. I mean, they've had golden opportunities with other wrestlers, i.e. Roman Reigns, and they blew that one.
Unfortunately.
Yes, after WrestleMania, I mean, that 6-word promo that he had the audience in the palm of his hands for 10 minutes, not saying a word. And he said, "This is my yard now." I mean, that was a perfect heel promo. Perfect. Did they do anything with it? No. I say turn Becky heel, have her attack Charlotte, beat her down. For all the times that have Becky stab Charlotte in the back before Charlotte stabs Becky again. We all know that's what's coming. So have Becky cut it off at the pass.
Oh, you're thinking Terry Funk, Ric Flair from the 1990s in WCW. That works.
Exactly.
Fizz, you got to remember, you're talking to an old school wrestling fan right there.
Oh, I certainly,
So
I,
he's
I
thinking.
certainly understand that. It's just the way I got into professional wrestling was through old YouTube clips of all of these older promotions like WCW, AWA, and I did my research beforehand. Jumping into the world of professional wrestling, like I do with everything that I get myself into. If I get myself into sumo wrestling or auto racing, I always try to do as much research as I can about the topic at hand before jumping into it.
So you sound knowledgeable.
Oh.
You want to have
Oh,
knowledge.
really?
I mean, I remember old WWA, World Wrestling Association, that was owned by Dick Aphelis, a.k.a. Dick the Bruiser, out of Indianapolis.
Wow.
I've
Okay.
seen Dick the Bruiser live. I've seen the Crusher live. I've seen Pretty Boy Bobby Heenan before he was known as the Brain. In Chicago's International Amphitheater, get slammed into a post and bleed. That's another thing that I've gone on and on about. We need color, but I digress.
Okay.
What do you folks think of Becky and Bailey both turning heel?
I'm going to let MDS go on this first because, you're going to get some form of agreement from me on that topic. But go ahead, MDS.
Well, I mean, I've already voiced out my opinion on that one. A frequent number of times already. I mean, because we already seen the body of me and Taker and I have wholeheartedly agreed that Becky and Bailey's body of work as a heel is manageable and is quite agreeable on, and both of them seem to want to turn heel just because they wanted a change of pace in their characters. I mean, I'm not saying that what the characters that they have right now currently on the main roster is incorrect for them or wrong for them, because we have to, looking at the bigger picture, Bailey's character is targeted to a niche of little girl fans who love wrestling. So that's their niche target, and they use Bailey as that marketable face to target that niche audience. As for Becky, I'm just speculating here. I'm just saying that her target audience is more towards the older tomboyish girls and some boys who like those kind of things. I'm just speculating again, but we already seen a peak where their characters are reaching, and at that peak, there's the risk of their characters and their markets getting stale, or where they end up in the plateau. And just to freshen it up, they don't necessarily need to change, but they can change. Well, that's how I see it then.
Yeah, well, I was having a discussion with Legend Lover, aka Mrs. Minion.
You're listening. Hello.
This morning, and we talked briefly. We talked a little bit about Bailey turning heel, and she says that everybody, a lot of people have brought up Izzy, from NXT. Izzy's a fan of wrestling, okay, and she's friends with freaking Triple H and Stephanie both. She talks to them pretty regularly, from what I understand. She's very friendly with Bailey. But if you look at what Izzy's doing now, she's wearing Alexa Bliss gear. Izzy has already turned heel on her own. She's become more of an Alexa Bliss fan.
Well,
I could see Bailey turning heel and turning on Izzy on camera, because I can tell you right now, I bet you any amount of money Izzy can work the audience just as good as anybody.
Oh, she certainly can. Seeing the match with the match between Bailey and Sasha down at Full Sail, where Sasha pulled off Izzy's headband. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I think that whole thing was a frickin' work.
Oh, I certainly agree with that, given that her family are total wrestling fans, and she's a total wrestling fan. And also, we should probably also give credit. She is also the best talent scout that NXT currently has right now. Think about that for a second, folks. People who are getting paid high amounts of money to scout talent for NXT, and they're getting out-scouted by a 12-year-old girl.
Who wants to be a wrestler.
Yep.
She just needs to wait a few more years.
5, maybe 6 more years, and she'll be NXT, and she'll probably heal to no end. That girl's getting a prime. She's getting a prime education. She's friends. Hell, she was probably friends with Dusty, for crying out loud.
Yeah, most likely.
But yeah,
Maybe.
seeing Becky turn heel would be great. I mean, I would love to see it.
Okay, but here's the
issue. We have then we'll only have two. We'll have one true face, one white meat baby face in Naomi, and a tweener in Charlotte Flair, and the rest everybody else is heel. So what do you do? Turn Lana?
Oh, no. I mean, okay, if I'm not being cynical and I'm just being critical, no. I mean, she has had her chance as a face, but then again, she has had that chance when she was a manager, not a wrestler.
Yeah, how could she be a face manager working with a heel wrestler? Rusev's been a heel his whole career.
Yes.
Correct or not, Fizz?
Yeah, you know, who is that? The person you're talking about that was all heel the whole time?
Rusev.
Okay, Rusev. Yeah, Rusev was a heel the whole time, although I think he could definitely do a face.
I think
I do think so too. I mean, if given a chance, like for example, his character Big Bartholomew in Southpaw Regional Wrestling, he can definitely play a face.
So your opinions there is on the Bailey and Becky turning heel.
I've been a big proponent of Bailey and Becky turning heel, to the shock and horror of a lot of folks. My reasoning for this is Bailey has been a face in WWE for 4 years plus now. She debuted this gimmick in 2013. She was originally a heel luchadora type character. Then they moved her over to Crazed Fangirl. Then they switched her over to, you know, basically being Hiroshi Tanahashi of the NXT Women's Division.
Nice comparison there, Fish.
Well, that's why we nicknamed her Hugshi Tanahashi.
Oh my God. Okay.
Because she was the true ace of the promotion. She took the ace status away from New Japan and took it down to NXT.
and then lost it when Tanahashi took it back.
Yeah.
Forcibly, I might add. All right. Okay, go on.
Well, actually, I think it was probably because Okada finally became the ace of New Japan, and Bailey got put up to the main roster. And what they have fought with Bailey is they fought that the same tricks and the same tactics that they did down in NXT would work on the main roster. It hasn't worked out that way so far. In addition, you have an individual who's seemingly seems bored of the character that she's playing right now. I've never seen a person, and this has been interpreted as, she's angry with creative or this, that, and the other thing, but I think she's just purely bored of the character and she wants to do something else with it, because she is a nice person, but having to play a nice, bumbling character all the time is really grating on a person who sees themselves as an actor / actress. Yeah, a person who wants to flex their community theater muscle on this stage, which happens to be this wrestling ring. And Bailey becoming a heel and unleashing that, because I've talked about Alexa Bliss being a literal volcano. Bailey is an even bigger literal volcano. She has the potential to be a really good, angry, raging heel.
Oh, okay.
There's been pictures and stills of whenever she gets angry at somebody, just this look of, oh my God, this person could be a really vicious heel if she wanted to. She could be like the Aja Kong Bull Nakano of her division if she wanted to.
If she wanted to.
Well, I mean, you look at the Snickers commercial.
Yeah.
That she did. There are flashes of her being heel. And I was like, oh my God, who is this Bailey? I like it, you know.
And the difference in this situation is Alexa Bliss can project herself as a 7-foot-tall monster. Bailey can project herself as an 8-foot-tall monster. Both of them have colossal tempers, and they have storyline reasonings for wanting to turn heel. Alexa got viciously pummeled by Sasha Banks and the BFFs.
Yes.
And Bailey did not support her when she returned to the ring, and she ended up getting slapped by one of Bailey's friends, Carmella. As I've said before, worst decision ever, Bailey siding with Carmella. That turned out to be a fantastic idea, he said sarcastically. You have a situation now where Bailey is now friends with Sasha, and I know people are thinking, oh, looks like they're turning Sasha heel. I think that they might swerve us in this occasion because
I
they
see
know.
that. I see that. I've been watching closely, and I see that. Even yes, Sasha just last past Monday on Raw with this, Bailey says, "May the best woman win." Sasha says, "Oh, she will," and walks off. Typical snotty reply. Did you see the look on Bailey's face? The look in her eye, like, pardon my language, is, bitch, you don't even know what I'm going to do to you yet.
Well, true. I mean, okay. The argument and storyline possession right now on both Raw and SmackDown and WWE in general is that both Sasha and Charlotte Flair are supposedly in quotations a heel or a tweener in this case of one Charlotte Flair. But if
Sasha, you mean face, right? You meant face, not heel.
Yeah, I meant face. And but here's the thing. I think it would be a more logical option if they stuck to their guns right now and just turn Bailey and Sasha, just turn Bailey and Becky heel at that point for this. I mean, we've already seen how Charlotte does when she's a heel. We already seen how Sasha does it when she's a heel. Why not Becky and why not Bailey? Like Fizz says, Bailey has done the same stick for 4+ years now, both in the NXT and in the WWE main roster. Becky, we only seen flashes of it in NXT when she aligned herself with the BFFs and Sasha predominantly. And even if her work initially, and this is an argument for Becky, even if her work started off as a very funny kind of stereotypical Irish lass who dances and stage, at least her turn there makes her character more interesting to watch as this enforcer type character besides Sasha Banks.
Yeah, that's a very interesting point. But yeah, like we haven't. I mean, like with Becky, she's definitely a natural heel as well. She's a great baby face. She's a great actress with range because she actually used to do theater. She actually had a bit part on what was it, Vikings, on the History Channel as an extra.
Yes.
So she does have theatrical acting experience. So you have this character as a face right now, but this will be very interesting to see if they turn her heel, because what I've been envisioning Becky as is a kind of dark character who's basically a female Irish version of Pentagon Jr.
That would be something that Taker would be very interested in doing.
Yes. But
I mean, I've already brought.
Like I said last night, Fizz, who would the Maestro be? The master. Who would her master be? If she's taking arms as sacrifices to a master, who is it?
Oh, hang on a sec.
I mean, okay, I've already brought this up, and Taker loves the idea. I mean, Becky is reaching a point. I'm just fantasy booking at that point. But if you read one of the comments that I did and
I remember that whole thread.
You remembered it because you loved it.
Oh God, yes. I was sitting there just like, what's next? What's next?
I mean, God. I mean, okay. what if all this culminates? What if all this culminates in Becky having the last straw, where she's tired of being overlooked, tired of being double crossed, tired of being cut in front of the line, and just one night, one moment, one match, she snaps, and she breaks an arm, and she breaks another arm, and she breaks another arm. She doesn't care whose arm it is. She doesn't care what it's for. All she wants is to make a point that she has had enough. And if she doesn't get what she wants, she'll break anyone's arm.
Right.
And I mean, yes, who's she working for? Who knows?
Yeah, that's
I mean,
the question.
she could twist it all around to be like the goddesses of puns or something comical. But in a sense, we can say that it's for a higher power. It's just for the Irish gods.
Yeah, well, you know, Finn's Irish, and Balor is some kind of demon.
Balor is some kind of, I think it's a supernatural warrior, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm not exactly sure. But that whole thing would be quite the, you have it be to the god or what are, you know, heck, you know, a lot of people, ancient Irish were Wiccan, and they followed, you know, they worshiped the earth. It's earth, wind, fire, and water.
Yeah, I think they were Wiccan. They were also pagan.
Yes, that's it. That's a pagan. Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah.
But seeing Becky just snapping arms left and right because she's at the end of a rope, I could see that happening. Okay, you know, it's the first one's an accident, kind of like how Pentagon Jr. did. The first one was an accident, and then have it progress from there. That she doesn't care whose arm it is. Hell, have her break Stephanie's arm, for crying out loud. You know, or break Daniel's arm, or break Bree's arm when Bree comes back. That's a whole other topic we could talk about at another time. Is the ring being put in the backyard at House of Danielson?
Oh,
we're talking the empty arena match between Terry Funk and Jerry Lawler, right?
Or Nick Foley and The Rock.
Yes.
Right.
Nick Foley and The Rock. That's the closest one that I was going to go.
Yeah, I remember the one that you're talking about, though. Jerry Lawler and Terry Funk. That was just gruesome. That match was gruesome. But I'm old enough to remember that too.
Okay, I guess.
But yeah, I had to help my dad carry in something at the house, folks. So that's why there was that brief interruption.
That's fine.
Okay, it's okay.
But you know, as far as the Maestro thing, as I said, I think Becky can be her own Maestro. You know, be the leader of whatever heel faction that they come up with for Becky, because she's good at that sort of role. She's never been the leader of any faction that she's been a part of. You know, even when she was a manager in Shimmer with the Knights, she was always the sidekick lackey.
Yeah.
In this situation, she can be the heel that leads the charge and has sort of a gimmick that is... I want to say that she could probably pull off a gimmick that is similar to Rosemary and Su Yung.
Yes.
So those two gimmicks would be, you know, something that would be very similar to what she's doing as a person. But the difference with her gimmick is that she rips people's arms off.
Yes, exactly. Or breaks them.
Yeah.
Just breaks them. She just puts them in a disarmor and breaks them.
Yep.
You know, kayfabe breaks them.
Yeah.
Okay, so we come to this peak where should we see Becky and Bailey turn heel?
Yes.
Is it time for them to be? Is it the perfect time now to turn them heel?
Yes. Either that or have it happen at SummerSlam itself. Because especially in the women's SmackDown match, there's rumors out there that Charlotte's going to try to bully, or is it Charlotte?
Charlotte,
no,
yes.
Yeah, Charlotte's going to try to bully her way into the match. But and then Becky's going to snap and just go out there because there's going to be a beatdown that's going to ensue. We already know this, and she's just going to take Charlotte's arm, put her on the kayfabe shelf for 2 months. to help Charlotte get more babyface sympathy. That's how I see it playing out. And in the other match, you got Sasha's going to come out there to quote unquote help. It's going to cost Bayley the match against Alexa, and Bayley's going to snap and leave Sasha in a heap when it's all over. And just, you know, because I'm already seeing changes in her ring attire. Bayley's she's wearing a vest now, a gray vest, and her shirts are more neutral colors. They're not the bright colors anymore on the t-shirts. She's not wearing the bright color t-shirt. She's wearing a lot of grays and a lot of darker colors.
I agree. I mean, it's okay. Just to add, I think both of them have already been in the same spot for several months or several years. For instance, for Bayley, it's 4+ years,
and for Becky, it's almost 3.
Change them now. It's time. I mean, we could settle this. We could settle the age-old question of who's going to be face for both SmackDown and Raw's women's division at a later date, because there's always going to be someone who feels slighted when both Becky and Bayley switches factions or switch to heels. There's always going to be someone who's going to stand up and face against them. It's the basic, simplest form of good guy versus bad guy story. When a bad guy comes up, rises over everyone, someone is going to stand up and fight. There is almost not going to be any kind of story where the bad guys reign supreme for an indefinite amount of time. There's always going to be someone who's going to fight against this, even though it's probably formerly going to be a heel who switches face and tries and gets the support of the fans and the audiences. We can basically, it's all just, we can settle the story of who turns face at a later date.
We can settle that real easily. I can, you look at one of the greatest rivalries that WWE had in the late 80s, early 90s, and that was Ultimate Warrior and Jake the Snake Roberts. And then that all started because of Ultimate Warrior and The Undertaker. Jake Roberts was supposedly helping Ultimate Warrior on how to defeat The Undertaker when in actuality they were working together. But segue to that, there's a similar situation between Savage, who had turned face finally after the whole marriage thing to Elizabeth, and Jake Roberts, who was aligned with Taker. And they were coming back from the ring after Savage had a match and Elizabeth was in front. And Taker stopped Roberts from basically waffling Elizabeth with a chair. Oh. Okay. Yeah, I know that's out there. That's even on, you can find that on the network. Okay. Later, the following week or a couple of weeks later, Roberts confronts Taker and he asks, whose side are you on? And he goes, not yours. And that solidified his face change, although he never really changed any of his mannerisms or what he did in the ring. He was a face, but he was still a heel. Okay. You get you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I see it.
Because I know Finn sees it because I'm sure he's watched it. He slipped away again.
He slipped away again. I could see it. And even if I go ahead and watch it, I could still agree with the change. It's a supposed natural switch. We just need to have a natural switch of alignments from heel to face and face to heel.
From time to time, switches are necessary.
Yes.
What it does, in my opinion, in the end, is it adds more depth to the character.
Exactly.
Okay.
I did see that. I did see that segment where Jake almost walloped Elizabeth with the chair and Taker stopped him. So, yeah.
And then the question, the next was a week or two later, where Jake asked him, whose side are you on, dead man? And all Taker says is, not yours.
Ah, yes. Yeah, that was the first time that Taker had a face run, I believe.
Yeah, and that's when he hit us. That was his first face turn.
Mhm.
But he still was the heel. He did a lot of heelish things in the ring.
Yeah.
He never changed.
Because
That was his
that's within
shtick.
his character.
He
That
was
was
always
within his
that way.
character.
He was
Mhm.
always that way. He never changed what he did
No.
in the ring. He was always heelish in the ring, even whether he be face or heel. He was the same.
Mhm.
We just need to see Becky get a little bit more aggressive and turn herself up about to 14 or 15 in when she turns heel in the beginning, just to make sure it gets over, and then slowly dial it back.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. So here's a question for you too. Let's say if we switch both Becky and Bailey we switch both Becky and Bailey heel. Should they switch up their own style or just stick to their own style and just amp up the aggression a little bit? Because some of the arguments in the sections would say that if you want to turn heel, you have to rely on heelish tendencies and heelish tactics. Would this be a little bit would this be available and would this be a good way for both Bailey and Becky if they're turning heel, if we are turning them heel?
Go ahead, Fizz.
I think they don't really have to change much of anything. Bailey is a power wrestler, we forget. And, power wrestlers are typically, usually heels. So she won't have to change up much of anything. In fact, it will make most of her offense look considerably more vicious. She's got that bear hug. She's got the side neck headlock. She's got all of the tools necessary to do heel moves. All she has to do is change up her pacing a little bit so that the flow of the match is different, where Bailey is the one that is the heel in charge of the match and the babyface is the one selling. In Becky's case, she's got a ton of submission maneuvers, so she also doesn't need to change very much of her offense at this point. Maybe reduce some of the suplexes.
The only thing I could see, and somebody posted this GIF in the Nightly one night of one of Bailey's older moves called the Rose Plant. And people are saying, "Oh, it takes too long to set up." I said, "It don't take any longer to set up than the damn skull crushing finale."
Yes.
And the Rose Plant looks so damn ruthless and vicious. If she turned heel and added that to her repertoire as her finisher, oh God, she'd have that move over. And have whether it's and have the women come up with bloody noses when they're done, whether it's real or not. They can fake a broken nose real easily. That would be perfect.
I agree. Yeah,
I think also on the flip side of the argument we're talking about with Bailey and Becky, I think that at this point your faces should be on the Raw brand, Sasha and Shock of Shocks, Alexa. And on SmackDown, it would be Charlotte. I know, Shock of Shocks. And somebody else to be determined at this point. Or Naomi.
Yeah, you got Naomi as she's the white meat baby face.
and Charlotte is a tween.
Charlotte's tweener right now. And like I said,
I totally agree.
The best way to get Charlotte the actual face, the baby face sympathy, is to have Becky's, like you said, MDS, totally snap and kayfabe break her arm, to disarm her.
Yep.
And I agree on Fizz's line of thought. I always thought positively on Alexa turning face, but not turning face as in back to her old gimmick of being the pixie glitter Tinkerbell. No, she can still stick to her badass. She can still stick to her badass 5 feet tall, 5 feet fury, 5 feet of fury, and all that sass maneuvers that she has. Just don't play to the crowd. Just portray her as a badass who kicks ass, and she wants to do it not for the audience's sake, but she just feels like she wants to do it because you're bad. I'm just doing this because I want to. That's it. It's
That
Sure,
makes her
but I
more-
think also at the same time you need to also bring the audience to you. You also need to bring the audience to start cheering you because hey, this person's a good person now. Let's bring her on board as one of us, as a face, you know.
Right. And like one of the best ways I think would be for her to take that rose plant and come up with a bloody nose.
Yeah. And in her
Alexa.
case, she doesn't have to fake it because given the fact that her nose breaks, you know, in matches, unfortunately, Alexa has a tendency to move in way too close
Yes.
during strikes,
Yes.
and
Yes.
well,
Let's see.
Take it
Let's
a
see.
little bit too hard. Yes.
Becky broke it in NXT. Sasha broke it
Yes.
twice in NXT. Asuka
Yes.
broke it in NXT. Carmella broke it in NXT.
You can say that basically.
Sasha has broke her nose again on the main roster. Okay, you know, she leads with her nose.
Yeah, you can basically just say that every woman who has been in NXT who has faced Alexa Bliss has broken her nose.
except
At least
Bailey
once.
at this point.
Yeah,
Except
except
who?
Bailey at this point.
Yeah, Bailey.
Bayley.
Bailey hasn't done it yet.
She's
Why not have Bailey break her nose? Why not?
why not? Just get her to the break Alexis' noses club. Just get her in there. You need everybody. But okay.
Oh. Now-
okay. Both on the
What-
flip side and on the front side. Let's move on then.
Yeah. Let's see. What else? What did you think of Battleground? Because I have my opinions.
Let me think here. Battleground, love the show.
Mhm.
I mean, unfortunately, I really can't say much about Battleground because I've actually got to cover it for both Wacky World of Wrestling and for Speaks. But yeah, I loved Battleground. Come at me, folks.
Battleground was okay. I think the best match of the night was the tag match
Agree.
where Xavier Woods did a lot of the heavy lifting in that match, which I never thought I would, which I would never thought I would ever see. But he was doing a lot of the lifting in that match.
Hmm.
You know, his skills have really improved since he first came to the main roster.
I mean, I thought that the time he has playing the sideshow manager for the New Day has kind of dulled his skills, but I was wrong. He did well. He carried the match. He carried almost all the heavy lifting for the team.
Well, the thing with Woods is that he's a very capable worker. It's just that you know, the thing that was missing from him was the character and promo side of things. He managed to actually find a character that works for him, and you know, using the fact that he actually is intelligent and has a PhD and is trying to get a PhD to his name.
Spoiler alert, though. How about this?
Mhm.
We got a title match coming up at SummerSlam, right?
Yes.
It's going to be determined between Nakamura and John Cena.
Yep.
This coming Monday.
Yes.
We'll get into that in a minute.
Okay.
I mentioned this last night. It didn't get much play, but I'm going to toss it out there.
Okay.
How about the possibility of Big E turning on the rest of the New Day? Because I think the New Day is about run its course.
I would agree with you, but I feel like that the New Day has gotten a second wind at this point, as well as you also need to play out this storyline with the Usos, who are, you know, who on SmackDown this week decided to take revenge by ripping apart Kofi Kingston's leg.
True, but you could see, they were kind of teasing it when they were, with the language he was starting to use on Raw. And the innuendo that was being tossed.
Okay.
And they kept cutting him off. And then then Kofi got hurt and they kind of went away. And then they got moved over to SmackDown. And now they're on SmackDown. They just won the titles. But what I see them booking, and like I said, I put this out there I put this out on the nightly last night. Have them stay together until, let's say, Survivor SummerSlam, or go through SummerSlam to Survivor Series. Yes, we got to deal with Jinder. No, have Jinder lose to whoever is next. And then have Big E finally have enough of being like the sideshow muscle guy with these two, Xavier and Kofi, because they are defending the titles more often than, Big E being involved, but, because of the Freebird rule.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. He gets jealous. He gets himself away from them, works his way up to number one contendership against the sitting champion at Survivor Series, and takes the title.
Okay.
Just say, and then, just to rub in his face that he didn't need them to get a title. He got it on his own.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need anybody's help. Because we all know Big E, when he first came to the roster, was heel. He was aligned with Dolph Ziggler and AJ Lee.
Uh-huh.
When the face turn happened, I still don't know.
That was around the time that Paul Heyman was managing Curtis Axel, so he ended up in the IC title belt feud because Paul Heyman called him a rookie.
Yes.
Oh, that's right. That's right. God, that's what, almost 3 years ago now.
Mm-hmm.
Almost 3.
It's time. And Kofi could play a heel.
Oh, he certainly can play heel. He played heel when he was in the New Day.
He certainly played heel when he was in New Day, and he plays the kind of abrasive heel that you just love to punch.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like someone else I know.
Please don't bring it. We already had this history with you, Taker.
Yes, I know.
You and I have this kind of beef.
I have not heard of the history. I'm just thinking of myself, okay, why is the man in the Pentagon Junior mask taking on the anime figurine butler thing?
The beef is, my beef is, and I'm surprised you don't know this, Fizz.
Wow, Fizz. Wow.
Do you want to be schooled? I will give you a quick synopsis of my beef with this particular wrestler. It's your choice.
Okay, so are you talking about The Miz?
Yes.
Like I said, I thought to myself, like, wait, how in the world did Taker and Sal, who's one of the biggest Miz fans on the site, not get into a proverbial knockout, drag-out brawl over The Miz, who...
Because we agreed not to talk about it in the beginning.
Oh, okay. That explains it.
That goes out of the window when Mr. Dr. Shanju and Taker's Minion comes into play. That goes out of the window.
For our main event of the evening.
The main event of the evening would be Pentagon Jr. versus The Miz, and Pentagon Jr. breaks both Miz's arms, and I would be happy.
He'll scream out his happiness on the rooftops.
You'll hear me in New York, Fizz.
Oh yeah. I figure a purple blue will like the. Oh man, Big E got stuck in that IC title feud with Axel, and jumped. I would see him as a heel, but at the same time, I think that they should wait a little bit because, once again, they managed to get a second win to the New Day. I think people calling for their premature demise may have been a little bit overblown. They needed time to adjust to SmackDown, the roster that they were dealing with, and the feud that they were dealing with, which, of course, is the Usos. Started with a rap battle and is now currently progressed to Usos breaking their legs.
True.
Yep.
I mean, sure, I can see Taker's standpoint, but I also can see Fizz's standpoint. Turn them heel, but wait, give them a little bit time to run their course on the second win that they have right now with the Usos. They're always doing good work, whether the New Day turns face or the New Day turns heel. They're always good. They're always the consummate worker. They're always the consummate professional workers on this point. No matter what stick they get, no matter what kind of storyline they get, they always manage to entertain. Be it getting thrown into the WWE WrestleMania hosting mix, or or having tag team titles, triple threats, four-way tag matches against any kind of teams. Be it heel, be it face, the New Day has always been the consummate professionals and the consummate worker for the WWE at the time. And so yes, I can agree with.
And no one sells a face in peril better than Kofi Kingston.
Exactly. And yes, okay, I can see the point where one of the character should turn heel and go against their the other teammates. Either or. It's debatable on who, but yes, people would say that Big E should be turning heel. Yes, okay. But I also see the point of Fizz where we should wait. We should wait a little bit longer and see how the story with the Usos play out. And if it leads to a heel turn on either one of the members of the New Day, by all means, do it organically.
Yeah, I could see that.
And yeah, but I can see both sides of it. It's quite a good argument to turn them, but just wait on it a little bit more.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about the match that's the 1,000-pound elephant in the room. One of my, we all know, everybody on the nightly knows my favorite female wrestler of all time right now is Asuka.
She's your goddess.
She's my goddess. That's right. Empress and goddess, same thing. But anyway, I digress.
Yes.
The match of the dream match is happening Monday night, and yes, I have thought about this match in my personal time of John Cena versus Shinsuke Nakamura. Who do you put over?
A lot of people I've noticed have complained about this match being on SmackDown. I know that why are they giving this away on free TV? Well, for starters, there is the possibility that there could be match interference in this particular occasion with Mr. Corbin and his briefcase of doom smacking both of them upside the head. So,
okay,
yeah, I can see that.
And
that leads to a triple threat at SummerSlam. With John Cena and
Nakamura
and Jinder Mahal.
Oh, okay.
For the title. This is for the title. This is for the number one contender.
All right. Sorry. Okay, go ahead.
In that match, who do you put over? Do you let John Cena get his 17th title and break the record of Ric Flair? Or do you give Nakamura his first title run? And if you give Nakamura his first title run, do either one of you think he's really ready for it? That is the question.
That is one hard question, though.
I think he's ready for a title run, but there's a lot of contributing factors. First, how long is Jinder's title reign actually going to be? Because people have been saying, "Oh, it's going to last only till SummerSlam. Oh, it's only going to last until Survivor Series. Oh, it might even go to WrestleMania." We're getting a lot of conflicting reports from a lot of conflicting sources, from a lot of conflicting people about how long Jinder's run is going to be. That's the first problem.
Yes.
If Cena at this stage in his career, I'm not sure they are going to break the Ric Flair record eventually. I'm not sure they do it here. I think they might do it at Mania, and they might do it for either the Universal title or for the World Heavyweight title, depending on how the Universal title shakes up, because John Cena is, as we know, a free agent in storyline. He can work both brands.
Yes.
For Nakamura, we have a situation where he's in a feud with Baron Corbin, which is very much what I consider a traditional New Japan-style mid-card feud, where you have Corbin, who's basically being, a Bullet Club style Gaijin wrestler facing off against the Japanese superstar. And Nakamura's in that position right now. I think, honestly, I feel that the match was a little bit better at Battleground than what people have been saying. But then again, my tastes about this sort of thing are a little different than most folks. So what you're saying is you want who you want at SummerSlam. I think it could possibly be Cena, but there have also been word that they might be doing a tag match with Jinder and Khali versus Cena and Nakamura.
Ooh, that would be interesting.
That's another idea that's been proposed, because Khali is, or actually it was Cena and Orton versus Khali and Jinder.
I prefer Cena and Nakamura rather than Cena and Orton, to be honest.
Yes. But the thing is, the only thing I dislike about Nakamura's gimmick is that they're calling him the artist.
Mm-hmm.
Although you should know this. Yeah, although you should know this, that they're trying to cut it down a little bit lesser in this week's iteration of SmackDown. They're trying to cut it down.
They need to let him be the king of strong style. I'm sorry. Because he, if he was to actually do, and you would know better than I, MDS, if he was to actually do the style from Japan, the strong style, he would get that over bigger than shit over here.
Oh, yes.
I mean, they have done the King of Strong style gimmick here in NXT and WWE, but the thing is they've also wanted to push the artisan side of Nakamura's gimmick because they think that is marketable. Because funny thing about Nakamura, he actually graduated art school.
Yes, he does, and it's a surprise to a lot of people. But a lot of those Japanese wrestlers actually do graduate school. Okay. Pulling one of Taker's most favorite female wrestlers, Asuka, she graduated art school and she has a degree in she has a journalistic work down at Microsoft where she does.
It's not so much journalistic; it's graphic design.
She does both. She does both graphic design and she writes articles on gaming. She does both.
Okay, Vince. I know you're listening. Damn it!
No.
Get Asuka up on the main roster.
No.
Bring her to SmackDown. Bring her to SmackDown, and let her start destroying it because there's ready-made. There are so many feud combinations on SmackDown of wrestlers she's not faced.
Okay.
She basically faced everybody on Raw. That's in the women's division. She's wrestled Alexa Bliss. She has wrestled Bailey. She's wrestled Nia Jax. She's wrestled Mickie James. Those are the four main ones right now. On SmackDown, she has not done anything with Charlotte, not with Becky, not with Sasha. Well, Sasha's the only one on Raw she has, not with Tamina, not with Natty or Carmella or even Lana. I'd love to see her squash Lana just for shits and giggles.
Of course you'd say that.
I mean, like right now, you've got two choices with Lana. Either Bailey starts disassembling, either Becky starts disassembling her like a child disassembles her doll, or you have Asuka completely obliterate her into the audience.
I'll pick the second one, please, and thank you.
Me too. Vince, book it now.
Please. Print money right now. Take all of my money. Shut up and take my money.
My pants just went out the window. Okay.
Okay.
Fizz knows that's a running joke on the daily. There go my pants.
I'm very well versed with the joke.
With the daily joke, pants flying everywhere. That happens.
And I have to always go grab my gosh dang umbrella whenever something happens or whenever pigs start flying in the sky because something has been booked correctly for once.
I don't need an umbrella for that. I just need a house or even a nuclear bunker for that.
Well, I've been trying to wrestle-proof my house because, I am a podcaster and I'm talking about professional wrestling. And, one of these days I'm going to have a horde of wrestlers attempt to smash through the roof of my house, which, by the way, I got most of my roof fixed. So, yeah, that's not something that I would want to have happen.
I'm waiting for someone to try to waiting for a group of wrestlers to break down my front door. But anyway, we digress. Who goes over if it's just a three-way between Cena, Nakamura, and Jinder?
It's going to be a hard decision on that end. But I'll go with record-breaking history and just go with Cena, surprisingly.
Okay.
I'm thinking Jinder because I think that they're still going to go with this idea with Jinder Mahal in the main event, despite what people, don't want out of Jinder. But, I'm really, really happy about this run that Jinder's been on because I've been a fan of his since he debuted on SmackDown all those years ago. Because when I started watching Raw and SmackDown, I hadn't really watched them live before, but Jinder was a part of the SmackDown roster, and he was in a storyline with Khali where he was trying to take control of the family. And I'm glad to see that storyline paying off with Khali now returning and becoming an ally of Jinder's.
Yeah.
So I think Jinder retains at SummerSlam, and I think a babyface wins the title, the Beef Jerky Championship of Champions at SummerSlam, sponsored by Jimmy John's.
No, you mean it's not sponsored by Jack Links?
No, because Brock has sponsorship from Jimmy John's. I don't think he has any sponsorship with Jack Links yet, although that could be an idea.
Please don't give The Rock ideas on promotion anything.
No, I'm saying WWE get that match sponsored by Jack Links. I mean, they freaking got Sasquatch, for God's sake. Why not have Sasquatch be the special guest referee?
Actually, hang on a minute. Jack Links did sponsor a WWE event, I think, a few times. I think that they actually sponsored SummerSlam a few years back.
Right.
Or was that Slim Jim?
No, it was SummerSlam, the first one in Brooklyn.
Ah.
I'd like to see that is going to be a hell of a match. I don't care what anybody says. And the funny thing about it is that 3 weeks ago, MDS, I brought that up.
Yeah, I know. I remember that one because you brought that up.
The four of them in the same ring. I mean, they better have nuclear bomb proof that ring.
Oh my God! Yeah, those four going at it for the Beef Jerky Championship of Champions. That is just going to be a match of just pure destruction.
We need a bigger grill. All I'm saying is we need a bigger grill than the grill that they use in Great Balls of Fire. So yeah,
yes,
they needed that bigger grill.
It will probably be a false count anywhere, just pure destruction, no DQ mayhem match, because it is a fatal four-way, so it's no DQ anyway. So we'll see such feats as Braun Strowman chucking himself for a wall, Roman Reigns attempting to run down the other freaking competitors with his masterful ambulance driving skills.
The question I have is this. Here's the ultimate question. We're going to have, what is it? The Spanish and the German are always at ringside.
Yes.
Pay-per-views. And the German announce table has never been destroyed. It is always the Spanish one. Will the announce table for the German announcers be destroyed in this match?
If you ask Leaf Saxon, she hopes it certainly does. Finally breaks the gosh dang table. She's been praying and hoping and chanting for that table to be destroyed for years now.
But in your opinion, Fizz, will it happen?
I think it might happen in this match, given the fact that we have Brock Lesnar, Samoa Joe, Roman Reigns, and Braun Strowman. The chances, the mathematical chances of this table being completely destroyed in this particular match, yeah, they're very high at this point.
Now, here is the funny part. As they get over to international role, will we see the Hindi table destroyed? Will we see the Japanese table destroyed?
Oh, no. You're going to include that, too?
The Hindi, the Japanese, the Chinese, the Russians, the French.
The Portuguese.
The Portuguese. Destroy them all.
French.
Destroy them all. I'd love to see all the tables destroyed at this pay-per-view. That would be epic.
Yes. From a booking standpoint, I sure hope that this match goes last.
Oh, certainly.
Oh, so do I.
For a number of reasons. I want to see pure destruction. I want to see broken tables, bent chairs, even a little bit of color, if that's possible. That would make Taker's Day very, very happy indeed.
Given that Brock has a habit of bleeding in matches when he gets hit by things, that's a likely possibility.
Well, the match he had with Roman at WrestleMania 30, he hit a bolt on purpose just to bleed.
So yes, I think in that case, then Taker will rejoice. Yay, color!
Yes, color, and I will be available for that podcast as well.
Okay, but here's the best question for that kind of beef: who wins?
Oh God.
Well, we can cross out Strowman because we know that he's probably going to be continuing on whatever feud he's going to go with next. Joe, he's got a slight possibility. We know Brock's probably dropping the belt depending on whether or not the UFC pays him a truckload of literal money for this alleged John Jones UFC fight. Now, folks, I'm not particularly familiar with UFC. I don't cover that particular combat sport as frequently as I cover wrestling, boxing, and sumo wrestling, but they're pushing for the John Jones-Brock Lesnar super fight, and there's also been allegations that Brock has entered the USDA testing pool. He hasn't entered the pool yet. It's just we're in between right now when it comes to Brock Lesnar. They might have him drop the belt at SummerSlam, but the most likely candidate that wins this belt is, of course, our ambulance driving friends, the beloved Roman Reigns.
Yep, I see that,
And
and the universe is gonna be pissed.
yeah, in a sense. Okay, so basically, you're gonna see Roman winning.
But who's on their back?
Probably will either be Brock, Braun, or Joe, depending on where they go with it. Well, actually, they won't have Joe be pinned, because if they're going to go Roman Joe for the foreseeable future in the next stage of this feud, then that might be a possibility.
I don't see Roman Joe. I see more Braun Joe.
Braun Joe.
That's a possibility, but then again, you'd have to turn one of them face if you were going to do that.
Why not? Why can't two heels fight? It's happened before.
It happens before, but okay, Fizz, go on first. Sorry.
That's fine. Let's see. As far as Joe's concerned, he's had a really solid heel run, and Braun, Braun is actually sort of turned semi-babyface at this point, whereas he is a guy that is now getting incredible cheers because he's now getting more over because, well, he's feuding with Roman Reigns, who is beloved by all.
Insert sarcastic point here.
Okay, well, we've got to be wrapping this up pretty quick because Fizz has got a podcast starting here shortly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I have one quick question for you, Fizz. You said you've covered boxing, and wrestling, boxing, and sumo. With the big event coming up in August of Conor McGregor,
money versus money,
Floyd Money Mayweather. What do you think happens? Your honest opinion.
That both of them jump in a lake, because I have absolutely no interest in this particular match. Like I said, I mean, I have an incredible aversion, folks, to MMA fighting. If you're an MMA fighter in pro wrestling, I like you. If you're an MMA fighter in MMA,
not so much.
Not so much. Because I watched one Axis TV MMA fight. First few matches were good. Then the main event comes along, and then we see this light heavyweight fighter literally beating the brains out of a guy in the main event. And you start seeing the blood starting to run down the guy's goes, and I'm like, ooh, not good. He gave him a concussion and possible severe brain damage. Great. Yeah. I mean, I don't mind combat sports. I don't mind sports like sumo and boxing, but the regulations in MMA when it comes to head trauma and concussions aren't as stringent as other combat sports. There's a little bit more of a dark underground fight feel to that type of sports that just makes my skin crawl, in addition to the fact that UFC is run by a guy who is literally Jabba the Hutt. I nicknamed him Dana the Hutt because there is this one photo of him talking with Brock Lesnar in what appears to be a nightclub, and the entirety of his lower half of his body is missing. So I figure, oh wait, he's got some kind of holographic projector thing going on. He must really be a Hutt.
Oh God. Okay.
So my nickname for him has been Dana the Hutt this entire time. Because he literally runs this UFC thing, Zufta, whatever the ownership situation of this thing is, like an actual Hutt Lord from Star Wars.
Okay. All right, Fizz, we know you got to get going. You got a few minutes before yours starts. That is Fizzy's Wacky World of Wrestling, which follows us almost immediately. With Sal Cusimano. Is there a way for folks to get in touch with you, Fizz, other than through K-Side?
Well, there are a couple ways of actually doing that. What do you mean, for podcasting?
No,
for podcasting or for general questions they want to ask you?
Well, we usually have an open thread for the Wacky World of Wrestling podcast. I need to actually set that thing up. I forgot to do that. I'll do that. We'll probably be starting around between 1 and 1:10, 1:15 p.m. We usually start about 10 minutes later than usual, so we'll have that be happening. And as far as podcasting opportunities, well, you can contact me via my Twitter account at Fitzpatrick14. That is FIZZPATRICK14. It's under the William Fitzpatrick name. It's easily identifiable because there's a Pearl avatar icon on there. You can follow me there, and if Speaks episodes come up, I will either message you or you can message me about if you're interested in doing a show. We've got a couple of shows lined up here in this particular calendar. We've got Battleground this week. Taker has already been confirmed as a guest, and depending on if his technical problems continue or not, we'll see how that goes. This weekend, it's Battleground. Then we have in August, we have Takeover Brooklyn, which I am dubbed the Escape from Brooklyn edition because we want to flee away from Takeover in Brooklyn. And SummerSlam, which I haven't thought of a title yet. I think of most of the titles of the shows that I do for Speaks and for Wacky World. So
probably the day when Fizz wears a bikini.
No.
Could be. It's a suggestion.
Okay.
Never mind. Okay.
MDS, where can they contact you?
I will be mostly on the nightly. You can just catch me there and just say hi. Or you can catch me on Twitter at BeckyGotBank666. Okay. Just poke me any question. Just say hi or just chat with me. I don't really mind. I don't have a life right now. other than plastic modeling, my job, taking photos, and just be an all-round good boyfriend. That's all I do. So
that's good.
You can catch me there.
And myself, you can catch me at nightly as well. Sometimes on the daily. I state that every week. Also, you can find me at @Takers_Minion on Twitter. Don't forget that later on this evening we got Two Guys, One Sport. That's with Crazy Chris.
Crazy Chris and Curtain Jerker. They will be starting at 9 p.m. I'm not sure if they're going to be if Chris is going to be doing a camera episode again. Folks, if you survived that podcast, which is a fantastic show, by the way, last week's episode went 2 hours and 59 minutes.
Yes, it is. Almost.
It was hysterical, too.
Yeah, it was amazing because they had one of our people who's been on Speaks before in WOR Duke, who was a guest on it last week. This week, I don't think they have any guests, but it will just be a regular show. So be interesting to hear their thoughts on Battleground, how much they'll agonize over it.
Yeah, and don't forget this. It'll probably be coming out Sunday. Cage Side Speaks, as far as I know. And then we've got the others. We've got Wednesday Night Shootin' with Tanya Rogers and
Andrew Swift.
Andrew M. Swift. And they're on Wednesday nights at about 7 p.m. Central Time. And, there's always room for more podcasts. We'd love to, we'll promote each other, take care of each other because, it's fun to get out there and make your opinions known. I'm looking at possibly starting up next week a podcast that's about 30 to 45 minutes in length. It'll be my hot takes. And believe me, it will not be PG. It will not be PG. It'll be more like rated R to NC-17. So
it is the podcast.
It is the podcast. It's going to be me basically uncensored and speaking my mind with all the blue language I know. All right, guys, let's have it. We enjoy have you listening. Give us a follow on YouTube. Give us a thumb up and leave your comments there. And y'all have a good day. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.